Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. In our previous session on immunity, we talked about the classification and the types of immunity, the general characteristics of each type of immunity, and the components of the each type of immunity. Today, we are going to talk more about the acquired immunity. As we know that there are two cells which are responsible for providing us the acquired immunity. These are basically two types of lymphocytes, the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes, which are the components of the acquired immunity. Now, both B and T lymphocytes, these are derived from a common precursor present in the bone marrow. This precursor is known as lymphocyte committed stem cells. This diagram shows us the genesis of different blood cells. This is the stem cells present in the bone marrow, from which all the cell lines are going to develop and differentiate. These stem cells give rise to the lymphoid committed stem cells, from which the B and the T lymphocyte are going to develop. After the formation, both types of lymphocytes, that are the T and the B lymphocytes, are pre-processed in specialized areas within the body. The pre-processing of T lymphocytes occur in the thymus. Now, thymus is a lymphoid tissue which is present in the chest cavity, in the midline, above the level of heart, in the spaces between the lungs. So, pre-processing of the T lymphocytes occur in the thymus. Because of this reason, they are called as T lymphocytes. During pre-processing of T lymphocytes, these cells divide rapidly and develop extreme diversity. It means that one lymphocyte develops reactivity against one type of antigen, while the other lymphocyte will develop reactivity against a different type of another type of antigen. So different types of millions of different types of lymphocytes are formed, which can react against millions of different types of antigens. When the pre-processing of the T lymphocytes is complete, only those T lymphocytes which do not react against the self antigens leave the thymus. Now, this is made possible by presenting the self antigens to the T lymphocytes in the thymus. Those T lymphocytes which react against self antigen are destroyed and phagocytosed instead of being released into the blood. So, only those lymphocytes will leave the thymus that are not reactive against the self antigens. These T lymphocytes are lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue, tonsils, adenoids, spleen, thymus, and bone marrow, and in the lymph nodes. Most of the pre-processing of the T lymphocyte, it occurs shortly before birth and a few months after the birth. The pre-processing of the B lymphocytes occur in the liver during mid-fetal life and in the late fetal life, and after the birth of the baby. The pre-processing of B lymphocytes occur in the bone marrow. The B lymphocytes are called so because this population of cell was first time discovered in the birds in a special pre-processing area. That pre-processing area in the birds was known as bursa of Fabricius. So because of this, they were called as B lymphocytes. Now, B lymphocytes show reactivity by forming antibodies. In case of T lymphocyte, when they are activated, the whole cell is activated against the antigens or the foreign invaders. But in case of B lymphocytes, the reactivity is shown by formation of antibodies. Now these antibodies are capable of combining and destroying the antigenic substances. When the pre-processing of B lymphocyte is occurring in the bone marrow, they also develop a great diversity, and even the diversity of the B lymphocytes is greater than the T lymphocytes. Millions of different types of B lymphocytes are formed, which are capable of forming billions of different types of antibodies against the different types of antigens. After pre-processing of the B lymphocytes is complete, the B lymphocyte will leave the bone marrow, and these are lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue throughout the body. In the same way, the T lymphocytes are lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue. Not only the B and T lymphocytes are present in the lymphoid tissue, but also they continuously circulate among the lymph, blood, and the body tissues. So both types of lymphocytes, that are the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes, will remain on constant surveillance in order to protect the body against foreign invaders. This diagram shows us the pre-processing of the B and the T lymphocytes. So these are the hematopoietic stem cells present in the bone marrow, from which different cell types are formed. So the hematopoietic stem cells give rise to the common lymphoid progenitor cell, which is the precursor for both the T and the B lymphocytes. So those lymphocytes which are destined to become T lymphocytes, they will be they will transfer to the thymus, where pre-processing occurs, and the T lymphocytes are formed, and they are released from the thymus, and they will be lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue. Here again I will emphasize that only those T lymphocytes are released into the blood to enter into the peripheral lymphoid tissues which are not reactive against the self antigens, while during pre-processing, those T lymphocytes which are reactive against self-antigens these are destroyed and phagocytosed, and they are not released. They are never released into the circulation. Now, those cells which are destined to become the B lymphocytes, they will migrate. They will remain in the bone marrow, and here the processing of B lymphocyte will be complete. And the B lymphocytes, after completion of the pre-processing, will be released to be lodged into the peripheral lymphoid tissue. Now both B lymphocyte and the T lymphocytes will be activated when they will be exposed to their specific type of antigen. The reactivity of the T lymphocyte is shown by formation of activated T lymphocyte. The whole cell is active against the antigen. While in case of B lymphocytes, when these are activated, they transform into the plasma cells, and these plasma cells then are going to form the antibodies which are capable of combating the antigen. So the immunity which is provided by the B lymphocytes is the humoral immunity, and the immunity which is provided by the activated T lymphocytes is known as cell mediated immunity. Now this is the flow chart showing us the pre-processing of the T and B lymphocytes. In the bone marrow, there are hematopoietic precursor cells from which the cell lines are going to develop. So this gives rise to the lymphocyte committed stem cells, and from the lymphocyte committed stem cells, the T and B lymphocytes are going to develop. T lymphocyte will be further processed in the thymus, and after pre-processing is complete, T cells will be lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue, and the B cells pre-processing is completed within the bone marrow, and after it is completed, they are released into the blood and they are lodged in the peripheral lymphoid tissue. Now whenever there is a foreign invasion, this causes activation of B cells as well as activation of T cells. So B cells will produce upon activation the antibody mediated immune response, and T cell after activation will produce cell mediated immune response. We just talked about that during the pre-processing of T and B lymphocyte, the both types of cells develop a great degree of an extreme degree of diversity. By diversity, we mean there are millions of different types of T and B lymphocytes. Now, how is this possible? How do the lymphocytes develop diversity? The answer to this question is that in the original stem cells, the whole gene for forming T and the B lymphocyte is never present. Instead, it is present in the form of gene segments. So, in the stem cells, whole gene is not present. Instead, what is present are the gene segments. So when the T and B lymphocytes are multiplying and dividing, these gene segments mix up in random combinations. So hundreds of different gene segments can form millions of different combinations. Now this possibility of formation of millions of different combinations of the gene segments give rise to the possibility of having the millions of different types of T and B lymphocytes. Now, each T and B lymphocyte that is formed, the gene structure in the T or the B lymphocytes codes only a single antigen specificity. It means each functional T or B lymphocyte is activated against one type of antigen only. Now, all the lymphocytes that are capable of forming one specific antibody or a T lymphocyte are called a clone. इसको हम we can say it like कि all this in each clone the similar lymphocytes are grouped together. The lymphocytes which are capable of reacting against one type of antigen are grouped together to form a clone. So since there are millions of different types of lymphocytes having reactivity against millions of different types of antigens, so we have millions of different types of clones present in the lymphoid tissue. And again, I am emphasizing that lymphocytes in each colon are alike and these are derived originally from one or a few early lymphocytes of its own type, of its specific type. Now, most of the lymphocytic clones never find a matching antigen, so they remain inactive. Only those lymphocytes which find a matching antigen will become active and these will reproduce wildly, forming tremendous number of its duplicates. It means whenever there is activation of a particular clone of lymphocyte by exposure to its matching antigen, the cells in each in the colon are going to reproduce and it is going to add tremendously to the it is going to add tremendous number of lymphocytes to the colon. It is clear now, it will become clear from this diagram that how the clone of a lymphocyte is activated and how does it divide and multiply. So in this diagram you can see different types of B lymphocytes. So each lymphocyte is representing a clone of the B lymphocyte. Here is one type, this is another type of B lymphocyte which is capable of becoming active against a specific type of antigen. Here it is another type of B lymphocyte and this is again a different type of B lymphocyte. Now when there is an antigen which gains entry into the body and this antigen will cause activation of its specific type of B lymphocyte. So this is the B lymphocyte which can recognize and bind with this antigen. So this B lymphocyte is activated, it will reproduce and it will differentiate into the plasma cells, and plasma cells are the mature cells which are going to produce antibodies, and these antibodies will combat the antigens by different reactions, the details of which we are going to see later on, the reactions which can be produced by the antibodies. So some of these cells of some of the B cells which are activated, they will not produce the antibodies. Instead, they will be added up to the original colon. Now, these cells which do not go on to produce antibodies and they become part of colon, they form the memory cells. In our last lecture, we talked about this characteristic of the acquired immunity, that the acquired immune system has memory. Now, this is how the memory is produced in the acquired immune system. So, when a cell is activated, a specific B lymphocyte is activated by exposure to its specific type of antigen. It is going to reproduce and form and is going to form multiple duplicates of its type. Some of them are going to mature, many of them are in fact are going to mature and form the plasma cells and are going to produce the antibodies to react against the antigens, while few will not be matured to form the plasma cells. Instead, they will become part of the colon. Now, these cells are going to keep the memory, and if the next time same antigen it enters the body, they are going to produce a much rapid and a stronger response against that antigen. Again, the same thing. So, we are going to skip this slide. Now, what is the mechanism of activation of a colon of lymphocyte? Now, both B and T lymphocytes have receptors on their cell surface. These receptors are called as cell surface receptors. These receptors are capable of recognizing their specific antigens. In case of B cells, the surface receptors are antibodies. Now, antibodies can recognize an intact antigen which is specific to it. Now, each B cell has hundred thousands of such receptor molecules. In case of T lymphocytes, the cell surface receptors are called as T cell markers, and each T lymphocyte also has hundred thousands of such receptor molecules. Now, there are slight differences in the recognition and responses which are produced by B and T lymphocytes. In general, the B cells or the B lymphocytes can recognize the free existing antigen or the bacteria and their toxins and a few viruses, and they can combat it by secreting the antibodies. But in case of T cells, the T cells can recognize the antigens only when these are bound to specific molecules on the surface of antigen presenting cells. We can say that T lymphocytes can recognize the antigen only when it is presented to it by specific cells having molecules on the specific molecules on their surface. Now, those cells which present antigen to the T lymphocytes are called as antigen presenting cells. Now, antigen presenting cells can not only present antigen to the T lymphocytes, but they also present antigen to the B lymphocytes. Although the B lymphocytes can recognize the antigens in the the B lymphocytes can recognize the free existing foreign invaders as well. Moreover, the T cells are specialized in destroying the body cells that have gone array, means which have changed from the normal. Either they are infected with viruses or they have mutated to become cancer cells. So these are the two important differences between the B and the T lymphocytes when we talk about the recognition of the foreign invaders by these cells. Again, I am repeating that B cells can recognize the free existing antigens by having the antibodies on their cell surface which act as receptors, but and they are activated against bacteria and their toxins and a few types of viruses. But in case of T lymphocytes, these cells can recognize antigen only When it is presented to it and by binding with specific molecules on the surface of antigen presenting cells, and they are specially active, they are specialized in destroying the body cells infected with viruses and the cells which had changed into the cancerous cells after mutations. So now we are going to see what are different types of antigen presenting cells. Now we know antigen presenting cells present antigens to the lymphocytes. Now, there are three important antigen presenting cells. These include the macrophages, the B lymphocytes, and the dendritic cells. Of these, the dendritic cells are the most potent antigen presenting cells. Now, the specific molecules that are going to bind with the antigen and are going to present it to the lymphocytes are called as MHC proteins. MHC proteins are the specific molecules present in the surface of the antigen presenting cells. The MHC stand for major histocompatibility complex proteins. I am repeating, MHC stands for major histocompatibility complex proteins. These are the protein molecules present in the surface of antigen presenting cells. These molecules that are MHC proteins are not only present in the surface of the antigen presenting cells, but these molecules are present on the surface of other cells of the body as well. There are there are two types of MHC proteins. These are class 1 and class 2 proteins. So there are two types, MHC class 1 proteins and MHC class 2 proteins. Now T lymphocytes are going to bind with the antigen, or they are going to bind with the MHC molecules only when it is combined with the foreign antigen. So if MHC molecules are alone on the surface of the cell, they are going to signal that they are a part of body, and lymphocytes will not bind with MHC proteins or MHC molecules when they are alone, not bound to an antigen. But when MHC molecules are associated with a foreign antigen, which can be a viral protein, and this viral protein is displayed on the surface in a groove on the top of MHC molecule, only then the T lymphocyte will typically bind with the MHC molecules. Again, I am repeating that the T cells do not bind with MHC molecule when these are not bound to an antigen. But when MHC molecules are associated with a foreign antigen, the T cell is going to bind with MHC molecules and they are going to be activated. So in this way we can say that MHC molecules, they present the antigen to the T lymphocytes, describing it the type of the enemy with which it is invaded. Now this diagram is going to further clear the concept of MHC protein molecules and how they are going to present antigen to the T lymphocyte. So this is an antigen presenting cell and this is a T lymphocyte. These are cell adhesion molecules. So both cells are going to come in contact with each other through these cell adhesion proteins. Now antigen presenting cell will will export a part of antigen to its surface to be associated with MHC protein. This is major histocompatibility complex protein present in the surface of the antigen presenting cells. It is when it is associated with the foreign antigen, only then the T lymphocyte is going to bind with this MHC protein molecules, and when they bind with these MHC protein molecules in association with antigen, the T cell is going to be activated and is going to produce a response against that antigen. Now we just talked about that there are two types of MHC proteins, class 1 proteins and class 2 proteins. So MHC class 1 protein present the antigen to the cytotoxic T cells, and the MHC class 2 proteins present the antigen to the helper T cells. In our previous lecture, we talked about the types of lymphocytes, that there are two types of lymphocytes, the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. And then I told you that the T lymphocytes can be cytotoxic, can be helper T cells, and there is a third type of T cells which is called as suppressor T cells. So MHC class 2 proteins are going to present antigen to the helper T cells, and this is going to cause activation of helper T cells, and then helper T cells after activation will show their response. The details of the responses of helper T cells we are going to talk about with the topic of cell mediated immunity. Similarly, the responses which are produced by the cytotoxic T cells we are going to discuss in detail with the cell mediated immunity. Here you just remember that the antigen presenting cells, they present antigen to the T lymphocytes, that are the cytotoxic T cells, and the helper T cells. The helper T cells are also called as CD4 plus T cells, and the cytotoxic T cells are also known as CD8 plus T cells. So again I am repeating, MHC class 1 proteins are going to present antigen to the cytotoxic T cells, and MHC class 2 proteins are going to present antigen to the helper T cells. And remember that antigens, when they gain entry into the body, they will activate both and B and the T lymphocytes. In most of the situation when there is a foreign invader, both T and B lymphocytes are going to be activated, and together they are going to produce an immune response against the foreign invader, and the purpose of the immune response against that foreign invader is to combat it and to protect the body from its harmful effects. So that's all for today. In next lecture, in next session, we are going to talk about in detail about the humoral immunity and how the B cells are activated and they're differentiated into plasma cells, and they're going to produce antibodies, and we're going to see how how the antibodies are going to produce their actions. This is the assignment for you. So there are three questions that you have to attempt. The question number 1 is define and classify immunity. Question number 2 is name the antigen presenting cells. Just name. And question number 3 is what are the important components of the sorry, this is not the humoral immunity. I wanted to ask about the innate immunity. So correct it. What are the important components and the responses of the innate immunity? Instead of humoral immunity, you are going to write about the components and responses of innate immunity, because humoral immunity yet we have to talk about it. Thank you.